When we talk about character, it's easy to get caught up in the polished parts of someone's life, their resume, their smile, the way they shake your hand, the way they talk when the spotlight is on them. But here's the reality. Character is not built in the spotlight. It's revealed in the shadows, the moments when no one important is watching, when there's no reward on the line, when they believe the interaction doesn't really matter. That's when you see the real person. And the best way to catch a glimpse is to watch how they treat people who can't give them anything in return. Think about it. Anyone can be polite to a CEO, a teacher, or a boss. Anyone can show up with charm when they're talking to someone they need, but real kindness, real character shows up when they're face to face with someone who holds no power over them. The waiter at the restaurant, the janitor in the hallway, the cashier at the grocery store. These are the interactions that strip away the performance. If someone talks down, ignores, or belittles those people, you don't need to look any further to know where their character really stands. The reason this is so telling is because in those moments, there's no personal gain. There's nothing to be earned. If a person only turns on kindness when it benefits them, that's not kindness, that's strategy. But when someone treats everyone with respect, regardless of what's in it for them, you're looking at integrity. You're looking at a character that doesn't shift depending on the audience. That's the kind of person you can trust because who they are is not conditional, it's consistent. Now let's make this practical. Picture this. You're at dinner with a friend. The food comes late, the order is wrong, and the server is clearly overwhelmed. How your friend responds says more about them than any story they'll ever tell you. Do they roll their eyes, snap their fingers, or raise their voice? Or do they show patience, understanding, maybe even gratitude for the effort? That reaction is pure character on display because in that moment, the server can't give them anything other than basic service. So if they choose rudeness, what they're really showing is entitlement. Here's another angle. Imagine a manager in an office. To their team, they're cheerful and supportive, but to the cleaning crew that comes in at night, they don't even make eye contact. That's not leadership, that's performance. Character isn't about how you treat people when you're being watched. It's about how you treat people when no one is keeping score. The people who can't put in a good word for you, who can't promote you, who won't even remember your name tomorrow. That's the true test. And here's where it matters even more. Relationships, friendships, business partnerships. You don't want to tie yourself to someone who's kind when it's convenient. You want someone whose default setting is respect, because sooner or later, that someone who can't benefit them will be you. One day, you'll need help they can't provide, or you'll disagree with them, or you won't have anything to offer. And the way they treated the powerless will be the way they treat you. So watch closely. Notice the tone of voice they use with people who serve them. Notice whether they acknowledge others, whether they say thank you, whether they extend grace in small situations. These are not small details. They're windows into a person's true self. Because the truth is, a kind person doesn't just turn it on for the people they think matter. A kind person doesn't categorize worth. A kind person doesn't need a reason to be decent. It's easy to look like a good person when everything is going your way. When people agree with you, when nobody challenges you, when the room is full of nods and smiles, that's the easy stage. But true character isn't revealed in the smooth moments. It comes out in the friction. How someone responds when they are told no, when they're questioned, when they're pushed back on. That's when you see the real version of them. Conflict doesn't just test character, it uncovers it. Think about the last argument you witnessed. Maybe it wasn't even your own. Two people going back and forth, disagreeing on a decision. You might not remember every word they said, but I bet you remember their tone. Did one of them raise their voice? Did they interrupt, roll their eyes, or throw sarcasm into the mix? Those choices tell you more about that person's character than their resume ever will. Words can be polished, but reactions are raw, and raw moments show the truth. The reason disagreement is such a powerful mirror is because it forces people out of control. When someone is challenged, they lose the comfort of being right. And in that discomfort, you see whether their priority is to understand or to dominate. A person with strong character can stay calm, listen, and respond with respect even when they don't like what they're hearing. A person with weak character lashes out, deflects, or attacks because their ego is louder than their values. Here's a simple example. Picture a workplace meeting. One employee suggests a new idea and another says, "I don't think that's going to work." In that moment, the first person has a choice. Do they get defensive, raise their voice, and try to shut the other person down? Or do they ask questions, seek clarity, and handle the disagreement with openness? That one choice shows whether they care more about truth or pride. It shows whether they value being respected or being right. And it's not just in offices. Look at relationships. A couple disagrees about finances, parenting, or plans for the weekend. One person digs in, refuses to listen, and escalates the conflict with blame. The other takes a breath, tries to understand, and works toward compromise. Same situation, different responses. And those responses aren't about the disagreement itself, they're about character. Because conflict doesn't build love or trust on its own. It reveals whether there was any love or trust in the first place. Now, here's the part we often miss. Disagreement is not the enemy. Conflict is not the problem. Life is full of both, and avoiding them is impossible. What matters is the manner in which people handle them. If someone can disagree without disrespect, if they can argue without attacking, if they can stay calm without shutting down, that's character. That's emotional maturity. That's self-control. On the flip side, if every disagreement turns into an explosion or a silent war, then what you're seeing is not passion, it's immaturity. So watch people in those moments. Watch them when they lose an argument. Watch them when someone says, "I don't see it your way." Do they fold their arms, raise their voice, or walk away without listening? Or do they lean in, stay calm, and show respect even in the tension? Those tiny reactions will tell you who they are, not their smile in the good times, not their compliments in the easy times, but their behavior when they're confronted. That's where the mask slips and the true character shows. One of the clearest ways to see someone's true character is to look at the gap between what they say and what they actually do. Words are easy. Promises are easy. Most people know how to say the right thing, especially when they want to impress, avoid conflict, or gain trust. But actions don't lie the way words do. Actions have a way of cutting through appearances and showing what a person really values, regardless of what they claim. We've all met people who sound amazing on paper. They talk about honesty, loyalty, or kindness. They speak confidently about how much they care or how dependable they are. But if their behavior tells a different story, then the words mean nothing. Character is built on alignment. If someone says they respect others but constantly talks down to people, you don't need a debate about who they really are. Their actions already told you. The tricky part is that inconsistency usually doesn't show up in the big gestures. Most people can manage to hold it together for major moments, when the pressure's on or when they know eyes are watching. The truth leaks out in the small patterns. Someone who constantly cancels last minute after promising to show up. Someone who preaches patience but loses their temper in traffic. Someone who talks about generosity but never lifts a hand to help. Those are the cracks where inconsistency shines through. And here's why this matters. When words and actions don't line up, you're left confused, frustrated, and often hurt. It creates mistrust. It leaves you wondering which version of this person is real, the one I hear or the one I see. The answer is always the one you see. Words are a blueprint, but actions are the construction. If the building doesn't match the drawing, the words were never true. They were just talk. Think about leadership for a moment. A leader who tells their team, "I value work-life balance," but then calls them at 10 p.m. every night isn't leading with integrity. A leader who says, "We win as a team," but takes all the credit for themselves isn't showing respect. The lesson is simple. When someone's actions contradict their message, trust crumbles. People don't follow what you say, they follow what you consistently do. Now bring this closer to personal life. Imagine someone you're close to always tells you, "You can count on me." But when life gets difficult, they're never there. Or they say, "I'll be honest with you." but you catch them hiding small things that matter. Each time it happens, the trust fades a little more. The disappointment comes not just from the action, but from the broken promise behind it. Because when someone's words don't match their actions, what they've really broken is credibility. That's why consistency is such a powerful indicator of character. When someone's words and actions match over time, you don't have to second guess them. You know where they stand, you know what to expect. They become steady, dependable, and trustworthy. And here's the key: it's not about being perfect, it's about being aligned. Even if they make mistakes, if they own them and adjust their actions to match their values, that's integrity. It's the effort to close the gap that builds trust, not the illusion of never slipping. Patience and self-control are two qualities that reveal character faster than almost anything else. It's one thing to act composed when everything is smooth, when the schedule is on track, when people are agreeing with you. But life doesn't always move on your timeline. People make mistakes, delays happen, and frustrations build. The way someone reacts in those inconvenient moments shows you whether they've mastered themselves or whether they let circumstances control them. Everyone can say they're patient until the line is too long, the internet is too slow, or the traffic won't move. Everyone can say they're calm until someone interrupts them, pushes their buttons, or delivers news they don't want to hear. Those little tests of patience are like snapshots of character. You don't need to wait for a crisis to see who someone is. You can see it in how they handle the ordinary delays and disruptions of everyday life. Think about the grocery store checkout. You've seen it before. The line takes longer than expected. The cashier is new and moving slowly, and the customer in front starts sighing loudly, tapping their foot, maybe even snapping at the worker. That behavior doesn't tell you about their schedule, it tells you about their self-control. Because impatience isn't about the line, it's about the inability to manage discomfort. And the truth is, if they can't manage themselves in a checkout line, what happens when real pressure shows up? Self-control is not about suppressing every emotion or pretending nothing bothers you. It's about being able to recognize frustration without letting it run the show. Someone with strong character can feel irritated and still choose respect. They can feel disappointed and still choose calm. They don't let the temporary